Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the session Circularity of Water for the Stati Generali of the Green Economy. This event is going to talk about the key issue of water, not just in Italy, but also in the Netherlands, an issue that this summer has been discussed at the European level. The 2022 drought has been the worst drought in the last 500 years. If we look at the data from Copernicus, from the European Agency Copernicus, we have been observing the negative effects of climate change together with poor water management, lack of circular infrastructure, lack of reuse, of reduction of use of water. And we clearly have seen we clearly faced one of the most complicated summer Italy has ever faced, especially in the north. In the water-rich north, that was the first time actually drought was this widespread, longer, because in some areas there is still water scarcity. There is still lack of water. In Trentino and region has always been water-rich, always been abundant with water. And today's event want to give idea, want to put challenges in perspective, want to give solution, especially putting together Italy and the Netherlands, two countries that are working in order to implement innovation, business partnerships, exchanging ideas, and trying to bring resilience into the water system. Water system has been for long neglected its resiliency, putting in peril also the energy sector. An energy sector has been already under heavy stress this year, and the drought this summer has shown that also not just hydroelectric, but also other power plants might face the effects of water scarcity. We clearly see along the River Po. Before the discussion, I want to give the floor to Agnes Achterberg, head of the economic department of the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, that is co-host of this event. And also we have Raimondo Orsini, director of the Sustainable Development Foundation, Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile, which is the organizer of the Stati Generali. I am Emanuele Bonpan. I'm the editor-in-chief of Renewable Matter, which is a magazine that specializes on circular and bioeconomy. And we dedicated this issue on the topic of circular water. It also became the base of today's discussion. So I hope you will have a chance to get a copy at our stand at the entrance. But please, Agnes, the floor is yours for the remarks.
This is no. Now it's on. Hello?
Maybe they're just off the. It's not this. The water is scarce. Also the sound. Yeah, now it's working.
We'll share microphones. Thank you. Thank you, Emanuele. So, hello, everyone. Welcome. We agree that I will start with a very brief intro in Italian. So I'll do that before I'll start my remarks. I am Agnes Achterberg. I work as the head of the economic department at the Embassy of the Netherlands in Rome. E prima di cominciare vorrei ringraziare la Fondazione per lo Sviluppo Sostenibile.
I'd like to thank the Fondazione per lo Sviluppo Sostenibile, Raimondo. It's really a pleasure to meet you finally, and also Renewable Matter. Thank you very much, Emanuele. I'd like to thank you for the joint initiative of this session on a very important topic, which is the circularity of water. The Embassy of the Netherlands in Rome, but also our General Consulate in Milan, we have collaborated with you for so many years, and it is therefore very important for us, and we're so happy to develop another beautiful project with you, and we're very happy to be partners of the General States of the Green Economy, which in our opinion is such an important event for sustainability in Italy.
Audience not familiar with Italian, also a warm welcome from my side. So climate change is ever higher on the agenda. Its impact is very clear. It's actually happening, climate change, as Emanuele also mentioned. We all remember the drought in the Po Valley this summer. Plan to intensify our collaboration, keep sharing best practices on themes like climate adaptation, mitigation, and circular water approaches and innovations. So the theme for today is the circularity of water. And of course, for the Netherlands, the urgency is very clear. As you may know, the Netherlands is in a delta of various rivers. Large part of our country is below sea level. So the risk of climate change is an issue for us. However, because of our very water-rich country, over the centuries, we also mastered the art of flood protection, water management, and water treatment. Just to give you some examples, you may know the delta works that keep out the water of the North Sea in the south of the Netherlands. I remember an important program in the Netherlands called Room for the River that helps us to manage the flow of water in the various rivers. And also one other very nice example is the use of natural filtration capacity of the dunes in the Netherlands to clean water for drinking. So people say that water is in our genes, and I suppose indeed because of our geographical circumstances that is the case. And Dutch water experts are working with many low-lying urban regions and delta countries to develop climate adaptive construction projects in coastal, port, and river engineering and maintenance. So water may seem a normal part of every day, but we shouldn't take it for granted. And I just read in a newspaper that also at the COP27 in Egypt, water shortage is a major topic. Because for many people in the world, water will become either too much or too little or too dirty in the coming years. And the United Nations recognized the importance of water in its SDG number 6, that is dedicated to water, but almost all other SDGs are dependent on water in one way or another. And failure to achieve them and to address climate change would cause a catastrophe. So it's therefore essential to bring systemic change to the way water is valued in policy, industry, finance, and behavior. And that is why we are here together, to discuss ways to bring this systemic change about. So today we have very interesting speakers from both Italy and the Netherlands on this important topic, and also some good examples already of Italian-Dutch collaboration in water technology. And you will hear them today, but I would just like to point out that we are also here with a Netherlands pavilion that you can visit to meet our companies and our solutions and to discuss further. And actually tomorrow, Wednesday, we organize a networking drink right after lunch at 1:30. So I would like to invite you all to come there and raise the glass with us and discuss this Italian-Dutch cooperation in water further. So we are in D426. So I hope that the collaborations will be further intensified, and further collaborations between our countries will start to boost the circular economy. And I already get the feeling that this seminar and Ecomondo are a great way to bring this collaboration further. So thank you all, grazie a tutti e buon lavoro.
Thank you. Raimondo Orsini, this is a truly bilateral meeting. You even had the official flags of the two countries in front of you. So why we decided to organize this water event?
First of all, let me thank very much Agnes and thank the embassy for this. We are very proud as Sustainable Development Foundation, but also as the Italian Minister for Environment and Energy, that you are here with us in the States General of the Green Economy. This is the most important conference in Italy on green economy. This is the most important exhibition fair in Europe for the green economy. And we are very proud that we could organize this with you. So thanks very much. We are talking about two countries. We are talking about two champions in different fields. You know, as you know, Italy is a champion of recycling. It's a champion of many things, food and other things, but maybe fashion. But this is not Italy against France that I love very much this competition. With Dutch, we can be more friendly. But you are the master of the water management. As you said in your speech, from your very first centuries, you learned how to manage this. And I still remember where we organized with the embassy, the first water forum that Chris remembers, and also Daniela. What is very important is that from a philosophical point of view, water is one of the fourth elements of the planet, and it's related in our ancient philosophers with emotions and links. You know, while fire is energy and earth is practical action, air is thought, but water is feeling, emotion, and links. So water is really a field where we can link our specific competencies, you know, where Italian companies and Dutch companies can do some partnerships where we can learn from each other. But also we are champions of the very last minute solutions in Italy. So maybe we don't do like in the Netherlands, the long-term agreements. Maybe we are less keen in programming in a long time, but we are very good in doing things at the very last minute and do it very well. Why I'm saying this? Because climate change, as you said, is very important. Climate adaptation now is a must for us, and Alessandro Blatti will tell us later on about our river, about the basins. So we need to do a lot of actions now, and the Italian plan, National Plan for Recovery, and the Green Deal in Italy has also some investments and public money to do this. So my feeling is that this conference is just the start of a cooperation for doing projects together in Italy. And I also like very much your proposal that we accepted to have two Italian companies, two Dutch companies today that will tell us what they're doing, two champions in the field. My last words would be about changing the idea of how to consider water in the environmental and the green economy politics. I think we should overcome the LCA temptation. When we do the life cycle assessment in a product or in a service, we tend to consider the environmental impact, for example, for a new product. If we want to analyze this, we try to do with the life cycle, our engineers do, okay, which is the impact on water, on emissions, on recycling, or, you know, on everything. But then you have the problem, which is the most important? Is water more important than climate change emissions? Is water less important than atmospheric emissions? How can we measure this? Water is linked to all of this. Agriculture needs water, but then agriculture can contaminate water. Climate change can have effect on the water, but water can have a good effect on climate change with the absorption of CO2 and greenhouse gases in the sea. So water is connected to all of this, and it's really the issue. So we start our cooperation today, and we look forward to do maybe a second meeting in the Netherlands, maybe in a few months, to see the advancements of this. And we hope that today will be the start of a very long journey. So thanks very much to you, and thanks to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Raymond Orsini and to Agnes Achterberg. Of course, it will be the beginning of a fruitful and already existing partnership, because we will see many of the industries today already have a partnership in place. So it's something that has started already. Thank you so much. I want to invite our next two guests for the challenges and solution of water security. Alessandro Bratti, General Secretary of the River Po Basin Authority, and Dennis Van Peppe, Deputy Special Envoy for International Water Affairs and Manager of Global Water Programs from the Netherlands. Thank you so much for being here. Alessandro, you have been having this role since 2 months. This summer, the Basin Po was the most stressed river basin. Somehow they managed actually to keep the situation under control despite the serious lack of water, despite the rising water demands, especially from agriculture, because of the higher temperature. Of course, climate change demands more water to quench the thirst of crops. As well, energy, we need to produce more energy to cool down houses. So there was a high demand of water for energy and for food, exactly when water availability was record low. So what are the challenges in the River Po Basin for the future, in the near terms and in the long terms, which I actually not invite you for your task?
No, that's okay. You're right. It was well. First of all, let me thank the foundation for this invitation, and also to have this kind of possibility to discuss with as you told before, a country that is has a long historical skills about water management. I also would like to apologize because I cannot stay all for all the events, because I have an overlapping another workshop, so I have to get another place. Anyway, of course, I am very committed to increase as authority this relationship with the foundation. Of course, we have some project together, and also, if it's possible, also with Netherlands colleagues, if we find some fields of common interest, as I think it could be, of course, possible. Well, I have some slides just that help me to explain what it was the situation, and also what kind of idea we have to face these really difficult situations that that I think is not a situation that is just of this year, but probable we thought we will have this kind of situation also in the next time. So it's we need to organize better our organization, and also to increase some infrastructure to face this problem. First of all, just a few data. This is a standardized flow index. It's a complex index. Just give you an idea of the critical situation that we had from February, let's say, until October. Actually, we have this kind of situation also nowadays.
Right now, yeah.
The only difference is probable that we don't have so many agricultural withdrawals that we had during, of course, the summer period. But the climate situation is still very critical.
No, there is still meteorological drought,
Meteorological situation,
snow,
like, rain situation, and also, well, not say the temperature really changed in the last 2 days, but the situation is always in a critical situation. Okay, no. Oh. Well, as a we had let's say particular tools. We call tools. It's a kind of a permanent meeting that is called the Permanent Observatory on Water Uses in the Po Basin. It's a kind of permanent meeting that we had to decide how to manage the water in a scarcity situation. Is a kind of voluntary group. So we need to empower this kind of instruments. That is really, really important because it is a meeting where that is coordinated by the authority, and around the table you have all the main stakeholders from agriculture to hydroelectrical industries to, of course, industries and municipalities and the agricultural worlds. So together we have decided how to manage the water during the scarcity period. As you can see from the slide, if you follow these arrows in the lower part of the slides, you can see that the color say to us that the situation is still really critical. Okay, you say what are the, sorry, because it's easy for me to have a read in this way. What are the main criticalities that we had in this period? Well, let's say, first of all, the agricultural difficulties, mainly, of course, close to the harvest of some crops. We can talk about corn or maybe rice, other kind of vegetables. And of course, during this period, we have some difficulties to manage the needs of this kind of crops. The other problem that we have is a kind of is connected to the environment. So we had some environmental problems respect of the ecological flow, according, of course, to the directive. So you have to respect the indication of the directive, and sometimes we have to face this problem in not just in the Po, but also in the tributaries of the Po. Another big phenomena that was really important when we discussed also before in another meeting, it was the saline intrusion phenomena in Delta Po River. It was very huge.
It came up at 30 kilometers inland.
More. We reached let's say the record, because it was from 25 to 45 kilometers of intrusion phenomena that create a lot of problems, not just in agriculture supply, but also for some drinking water supply in some municipalities at the end of the Po River.
Fishery as well were impacted in
Yes,
the
yes,
river
yes.
delta.
So we have also a critical situation concerning groundwater, both quantity and quality, of course. Critical situation in an energy power plants, directly for hydro, but also for the cooling system in gas natural plants. So we have to stop for a period the production of electricity in a situation where we need to produce electricity, as you know, for the problems connected to the gas from Ukraine, not from Russia. We have, let's say, not so much problem about drinking water supply. We are well organized to face it. So you ask me what kind of intervention in the Po Basin we can do. Well, I think we need to work in parallel ways. First of all, we need to empower a governance empowerment of this kind of observatory. Right now, this observatory, it's a voluntary, and you cannot work in this situation with a voluntary way. So we need to put, we proposed to the minister to introduce inside the next law the observatory like configuration of the authority, like one of the tool.
Permanent body.
Permanent tool. The other things that you cited before is climate change adaptation. We, as you know, we have a strategy. We approved a strategy in this country, but we don't have a plan. And we had in our like authority, just let's say 1 month ago, we had an integrated lives approved that concern the application on the basis of adaptation policy. It's a very, very, in my opinion, good project. It will be lasting for 9 years. It counts more or less 19 million euros, so it's not so bad. We have 21 partners, so it's really complicated project, but is the only project so big that we have in Italy on adaptation, and I hope that it will work. We will present it in a couple of months, probably, because we have the kickoff of the project in February 2023. So another, of course, policies that we have to develop regards the infrastructures, but not just one kind of infrastructure. In our opinion, we need different kind of infrastructures based on specific territorial demands. Not only territorials need the same kind of infrastructure. In sometimes you need a nature-based solution. In other situations, we need to develop these irrigation ponds. In other situations, we need a reservoir, a very strong reservoir. So it's a kind of holistic approach. So at the end, just a few words on this project. This is a big project. This one is a flag project inside our PNRR. It was a renaturation of the Po River area. Is a project that counts 352 or 57 millions of euros. So it's a big project. This project was conceived before the drought that we had this summer, because it concerns mainly reforestation, and some hydraulic and morphological intervention, and is considered, first of all, a decarbonization project. So for us, it's really important. We have a really short time to develop this project. We just have, we need to start in really few weeks, and we have in program different local meetings with local authorities to get the authorities involved, the local authorities involved in the project. That is a really big challenge to
develop it.
Yes. Okay, that's it. I think I finished. Yes. So we have 56 project areas involved along the Po River, and as total amount, I told you before, we need to finish everything in before the end of 2026. I think it's going to be really difficult to respect this.
Which is now 4 years.
Yes, yes, it's just 4 years, and we don't start yet. So we need, of course, in my opinion, we need at least other 2 years more. So this is an idea more or less of how to face the drought, how to face the problems that we will have in the future connected to the climate change. In some situation, you can have an immediate answer to this kind of demands. In other situation, you need, of course, time. So,
yeah, thank you so much.
I hope to give you an idea in what we are doing.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
Okay,
thank you so much to Alessandro Baratti. You have a big challenge ahead, and we wish you the best for this fundamental project that the whole northern Italy needs in order to keep stability in many different business fields. Dennis van der Pepper, you work as an ambassador somehow.
Okay.
Thank you. You work in the diplomatic field somehow. You work to promote Dutch technology. You work to promote resilience in the water system, water safety on one side, water security on the other side, all across the globe, of course, not just in Italy, but as well with many countries abroad. I also met your boss that is driving all around the world to promote as an ambassador of water. And it's interesting that you actually the Netherlands has figures like yourself doing this type of cooperation, which is absolutely fundamental when it comes to climate change, especially with adaptation and to promote circularity of water. So how key is today to create a diplomacy of water, to create strategies of cooperation among countries in order to promote the best water technologies available?
Well, I think, and I'm very happy that I got to speak after you, because I think you showed in a very good way how important water is. I mean, it's at the center of the climate debate. It's at the center of climate problems also here in Italy. So water is the big issue, water scarcity, drought. Yeah. And that's why water needs to be much higher on the political agenda. That's also why my boss, as you name him, he's not now here, but he's in Sharm el-Sheikh at COP27 to exactly put water higher on the political agenda. And that's also actually if you talk about diplomacy, that's also what the Netherlands is trying to do. So put water much higher on the international political agenda. And today I'm not going to be talking about how fantastic the Netherlands is. I want to talk about the challenges that we're all facing and pathways towards solutions. And I always use this picture, which you see here, because we always talk about challenges and problems. But I like this one so much because it also signifies the beauty of water. This is a painting from the 1700s with a view on the city of Haarlem, a beautiful old town in the Netherlands, and it shows the cultural value of water. And I will talk a bit about values as well in my presentation. Anyway, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me at this very important conference. I didn't know it was the biggest event of its kind in Europe. I thought it was Southern Europe, but it's the biggest event of its kind in Europe. So important that we're here and that we're doing this together as Italy and the Netherlands. I think we share many common problems, and I think we have a great friendship. And I really hope that we are able to continue and increase our cooperation. But I probably won't tell you anything new if I tell you that managing water and managing water resources is becoming more complicated and challenging every year. And I think your speech again was a good proof of that. I mean, we've all read the big problems that the Po River Basin was facing this summer, also in the Netherlands. It was quite shocking. Yeah, we are and part of these problems are caused by climate change, but not all of them. It's also because we are not managing water properly and managing it well. But anyway, we need to face the fact that droughts and floods and water pollution is leading to all kinds of pressures, loss, and suffering all over the world. And there's many examples. And I'll start with my own country. Yeah? So we are facing also, like here in Italy, prolonged periods of droughts. It's becoming a very big issue. Extreme weather, local rainfall at specific places, causing big problems. We have big rivers, as Agnes already said. This is a picture of the river Rhine, I think. We're dealing with either extremely high discharges or very low discharges. Our rivers didn't run dry this summer, but we have extremely low river discharge, causing river transport, which is very big in the Netherlands, to come almost to a standstill. We did have some issues regarding division of water, drinking water, irrigation. So similar, it just didn't lead yet to major disasters, merely annoyances. But on a longer term, sea level rise, being a country 40% below sea level is a big issue. So that's something we're going to have to deal with. But as I said, for us, there's no real victims yet. It's mainly some economic damage, and we still have time to prepare. And we are lucky that our infrastructure is quite up to date, and we have a good water governance. And because of that, we're quite well until now able to deal with the issues that we have, which cannot be said of many other places in the world. This is a picture from the city of Semarang on northern Java in Indonesia. Coastal city, facing huge problems with sea level rise, unsustainable groundwater extraction, causing land subsidence, causing water quantity problems. Another picture here of the city in Chennai, in India, where we also work. This symbolizes the big issues that water quality, water pollution are in the world. And I think India is one of the countries which is facing those problems at the most. And this happened only recently. This is Pakistan, a picture from Pakistan. I think a third of the country was underwater because of extreme rainfall, causing immense human suffering, big number of deaths, loss of livelihoods, loss of agriculture, you name it. I'm going to also have to improvise a bit with my speech. But the bad news is, if I talk about these things, that there's not really any quick fixes. I also think Mr. Bratti showed very well how difficult it is to change, how systematic these issues are. You deal with all kinds of stakeholders in your river basin. It's not very clear who is in charge of the water governance. And we have a lot of different difficult stuff going around, such as groundwater extraction, aquifer depletion, a shifting economy, causing flood risk, vulnerable communities. And then on top of that, you have climate change, increasing frequency of storms, etc., etc. At the same time, there's also good things happening. I think your example of the renaturalization of the Po River Basin is a good example of that good things are happening all over the world. I think also the thinking and the realization that water management is becoming important is there, but still so much need to be done. Basically, unsustainable water resource management is a result of market failures, and therefore a very systemic issue. But it's also a multidimensional issue. And I'll go back to the previous slide, if it's possible. Yeah. So this slide shows how water becomes an issue when unsustainable practices such as groundwater extraction and pollutions are taking place. And these problems are compounded by climate change, causing sea level rise and extreme rainfall or extreme droughts. Bad water management is a systemic issue, but its negative consequences are always felt locally. Those that cause the problem are not always the one that feel it on their skin. And we need system transformation and climate adaptation on a grand scale to become more sustainable and to reduce risks. It needs to happen in all parts and all levels of society, in markets, cities, river basins, and communities. But this is complex and hard. But we need to embrace this complexity by listening, observing, and understanding. And from there, stick our teeth into the problem and change things. The Netherlands recognizes the need for system change and explores how systemic approaches can be integrated into water governance and management. As an example, we recognize that the financial sector has huge potential to influence the behavior of large corporates who themselves have an immense impact on water resources. We work with the financial sector to encourage more appreciation of material water risk among investors, more transparency and disclosure of the water impacts of their investments, and more direct engagements from investors with companies that they invest in. By engaging the financial sector rather than only with individual corporates, we aim to maximize our influence at systemic level. At the same time, we have discovered that values regarding water management differ among different groups of stakeholders. That's why we think that integrating a various perspectives helps us get to the core of the water challenges we face. Recognize the economic value of water is one key aspect. Water is still too often seen as a low-cost or even costless resource. Water is a severely undervalued economic asset, and water-related risks are grossly underestimated as a financial risk for many companies on top of that. At the same time, it's important to realize that water doesn't only hold economic value, but also holds different values for different people or stakeholders. You could say that everybody is united in their concern for a better water resource, for clean water or enough water or dry feed. But you will be surprised how perspectives on values differ depending on who you talk to. For some, economic value of water predominates, but for others, the cultural value, such as the value for religion or for recreation, is more important. But for others, the environmental value, such as the importance of water for nature, as you've shown so well in your slide, is what counts most. In water governance, some focus on the effective water management, while for others, social justice in water management is important. If we don't understand these values and perspectives on values, and if we do not make efforts to reconcile values, it's difficult to do equitable water management. We're more prone then to make costly mistakes or possibly even enhancing conflicts. The value-based approach, inspired by the valuing water principles, previously known as the Bellagio principles because they were made here in Italy, which were developed by the UN High-Level Panel on Water, led by the Netherlands. As I mentioned before, water problems always appear at a local level and need to be solved locally as well. That's why we work in river basins, deltas, and cities in an integrated way using a holistic perspective. Working with local government, private sector, civil society, and citizens. This is hard because the more stakeholders and the more dimensions involved, the more complicated it gets. That's another reason why these value perspectives are so important. It makes us better understand the local circumstances. In order to develop solutions for water problems in the city, river basin, or other types of landscapes, the principles of co-creation, locally led adaptation, and inclusive approaches are key to well-grounded and sustainable solutions. And therefore, the Netherlands places a high priority, both at home and abroad, on inclusive and locally led adaptation. The days where the Dutch simply fly in and deliver solutions are way behind us. We try to put local communities, knowledge, and solutions at the center of local water management. In order to work inclusive and to use locally developed knowledge and solutions, it's important to invest in processes for the development of water management measures. Processes which facilitate listening and observation and enables all stakeholders to better understand the local physical, social, cultural, and economic system. Understanding the local system and local values is a key prerequisite for improving water management and for sustainable climate adaptation. When the local system is well understood, the process should support the development of solutions in co-creation. Solutions are less sustainable if designed isolated in some faraway office, and more sustainable if developed in co-creation with local communities, civil societies, and especially different professional disciplines such as architects, social scientists, economists, and engineers. As we always say, it takes millions in investment in process to invest billions wisely. The Netherlands also makes a lot of effort to bring people to the table of water resource management who are usually less well heard. For example, youth, women, and indigenous groups. The Netherlands is currently providing support to international youth organizations to enable more young people to get involved in decision-making on water and to introduce youth initiatives and values into both local and global water processes. Besides investing in research, knowledge development, and in local processes in specific geographies, the Netherlands is investing in international diplomacy, as I said before, to put water and climate adaptation firmly on the international political map. We do that currently on COP27. Henk is doing that. The Netherlands believes that water is an important lever for climate change adaptation and resilience, and for positive transformations in landscapes, urban and rural. Water as a leverage. That's why the Netherlands organized the Climate Adaptation Summit in 2021 to unite the world on a need for adaptation solutions, and continues to host the Global Center for Adaptation in Rotterdam. And this year, the Netherlands initiated the Global Commission on the Economics of Water, a commission consisting of renowned thinkers such as Mariana Mazzucato from Italy, that aims to publish a groundbreaking report, which is to transform the world's understanding on the economics and governance of water. Currently, we are preparing a big UN conference on water in March 2023. Then the world will come together in New York during the UN 2023 Water Conference convened by the UN General Assembly. It's the second only ever event on water at the UN, and the first one since the 1970s. So it's an absolutely critical moment for all of us, not just in the water community, but all around the world. The Kingdom of the Netherlands and the Republic of Tajikistan, both the co-hosts of the conference, are committed to making the conference a watershed moment for how we manage and value water. And to achieve this, we need the conference to be inclusive, action-oriented, and cross-sectoral. And the key outcome will be a water action agenda, a set of commitments that can be joined by anyone, governments, NGOs, private sector. And we invite you to join this conference, and especially its water action agenda, and making it truly a watershed moment. And to conclude, I talk a lot of important and complicated words, but sometimes things are also very simple. This is a picture of a canal in Amsterdam in 1960, and see how it looks. Probably most of you have visited Amsterdam once. The canals are beautiful and clean. It's a beautiful city. This is how it looked in 1960, only 60 years ago. And this is how it looks today. So, change is possible. Let's believe in possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dennis van der Peppen, to very inspiring discussion, both from giving perspective and to give also opportunities to give a vision for a roadmap to follow for more sustainability in water management. Circularity of water, of course, requires a lot of knowledge, as you said, not just engineering, but also economists, social organizers, geographers, communicators as well. It's a really, really complex dynamics, which final goal is to make water more resilient, more sustainable in three ways, we can say: diminishing the consumption of water, reusing water, which is absolutely critical, and making the most of use of this shifting geography of water that climate change is presenting to us. So I want to thank you again. Now we will see some solution from enterprises. Thank you for being with us. We move to the circular technologies and companies moment. So we will see 6 presentations, 6 ideas, 3 from Italy and 3 from the Netherlands. As we say, this is a bilateral meeting. So I want to invite to the stage here Hein Mollenkamp, Director of Water Alliance, Cinzia Del Zoppo, Senior Advisor and Sustainable Development of the Sustainable Development Foundation, Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile, Michele Falcone, Strategic Director of Gruppo CAP from Italy, Koos Wessel, CEO of CIRTEC or CIRTEC, Marzia Chiesa, CEO from SODAI of Newhouse Our Industries Group, and last but not least, Ruud de Vetter, I hope I pronounced it correctly, from the International Sales Engineer of Pure Water Group. So we have 6 ideas and 6 technologies. I want to start with Anne Molenkamp, is the Director of Water Alliance, which is actually not a company, but it's an alliance. So you put together the best water tech companies. So you're a network. So from your observatories, given that you see many enterprises, so which role first the alliance plays, and which are the most interesting technologies and solutions you have seen on the field recently in order to try to fight back what we have seen so far in terms of sustainability?
I probably need an hour or more to
oh, you have to pick because you have only 8 minutes.
That's what I don't want to do, because it's about the cooperation. And I think if I hear back the presentation of Dennis, where he looks forward to the UN Water Conference, and I see action and I see partnerships and I see things on the drawing, that is crucial. And I think here at this table, we are companies, and companies want to act because they make business out of their resources. And I think that is the great thing, if we combine those diplomacies with the action of companies, and also put in the science, because if we need new solutions in 10 years, we need to start yesterday with creating those ideas, because in my experience, many new technologies take at least 10 years before they will be implemented in the market. And it looks a long time, but that is what we see a lot. And I think if we see, for instance, at Water Alliance, we are based at Water Campus in Leeuwarden. And what we try to do, and what we really do, we do not try it, we make it work. We work together with universities, with educational institutes, and with companies to try to accelerate the whole cycle from initial idea up to implementation in the market. And even then, it sometimes takes too much time, but by acceleration and joining together, we can help shorten that introduction time to the market. And that is not only helping in time, but it also saves a lot of money. Because if you are a startup or a scale-up company and you develop a beautiful idea and you wanted to bring it to the market, you think it takes you 3-4 years. But at the end of the day, there is all kinds of obstacles on the way. It's not on the research level only, it's also on introducing your technology to the market. And then the legislation is not accepting it already. That's what innovators see a lot, of course. You have a beautiful development going on, you want to bring it in the market, and then there is somewhere a law or a legislation saying, well, this is not allowed yet. And so innovators always see this.
It's always a barrier.
And which is not bad, but we should say that it should be changed. So that is what, in fact, also Water Alliance and the organizations around Water Campus try to do. So you see here a few pictures of in fact, interesting. And so one is that water technology is enabling technology for many sectors. So if you look to, we all talk about SDG 6, but in fact, water is in the center of all the SDGs. And we see people moving over the world because there is drought somewhere, and wars are started. And so it's not only SDG 6. There is no food if there is not availability of water. We hear the discussion about the Po Delta, where salt is intruding. Exactly the same in the Netherlands. And we see already drinking water production stations which are located near the sea area, where they have to change their setup of the production technologies to be able to get the more saline water of the saline circumstances out of their sources. If you take in groundwater normally without saline, and all at a sudden in a couple of years it gets more saline, you need to change your setup of the technology. So there is a lot of things there which is implement. And if you look to, for instance, our organization, Water Alliance, has some 200 members in the Netherlands. And in fact, I think it looks very similar with the situation in Italy. Most of them are SMEs, really innovative, but they all are, well, champions in their niches. So no one is having the only solution for everything, but you need to cooperate. So there is a lot of different niches to cover. And if a company has developed something for the utilities, that is a different company who has technology developed for instance, for into the food industry, or having something specialized which can be used in hospitals. So water technology is, and you can find it everywhere in every sector. And I think this is also why this Ecomondo is a beautiful example. It's not only water. There is all kinds of biogas type of treatments which are related to water technology at the end of the day. So even the energy sector is involved in there. And I'm sure everybody today talks about hydrogen, but how to get to hydrogen if you do not have enough clean water? So it is very, very complicated, but that's our challenge. And I think here today there are several examples of companies who have beautiful solutions.
Just a quick question. How key instead is energy efficiency in the water system?
Sorry,
how key is energy efficiency in the water?
Yeah. I think that is key, and even today, of course, with the high prices of energy, which boost all kinds of new innovations as well. If you look to water boards or water utilities in the Netherlands, so in the Netherlands, water utilities, one utility makes the drinking water and other types of utilities do the wastewater. That's different probably here. But if you look to the wastewater treatment facilities, we talk today about they are not water treatment facilities, they are energy factories and resource recovery factories. And by changing, and the most difficult thing is, in fact, that someday we mentioned it is wastewater, but that's the very wrong word. And I'm sure it's hard to get rid of it, but water itself is the most important resource. It's not only the phosphates to get out or the cellulose, that's all. We solve that with technology, but the water itself should be recovered because you need it for other purposes. And today, of course, in the Netherlands, we make that water clean from the wastewater treatment, and it's in fact is going to the rivers and the canal, and we bring it to the sea. And we already spent so many money to make it at a certain level. So the next phase is, of course, to recycle it. So, and energy is, well, from economical point of view, of course, the energy component is very important because that makes often the business case. Examples, there is companies who developed recycle showers, which only use 10% of the water of a normal shower. And yeah, the business case is it's recycling the water, but it's also recycling the hot part of the water. So in fact, it saves energy as well. And you have to count all these things in when you want to implement new technologies.
Thank you so much. So we probably have to change the name from wastewater to opportunity water so we can...
Valuable water.
Valuable water. Thank you so much. Cinzia Del Zoppo, Senior Advisor for the Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile. We are talking about wastewater or value water. Also sludge are becoming more and more relevant as an element of a circular water system, an opportunity, a material that we can recover. So which role those can play, treated water and sludge can play as a source of material, of energy in Italy? Should be already on.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. And yes, it's a big issue. It's a critical issue, so it's an opportunity. And the reason I'm here because I'm presenting a report that include exactly the action you mentioned before. Academia, enterprise, and institution all together collaborate. And I just want to tell you which are the first results, the findings of this report. However, I would like to introduce the problem of the water as well. Although water is a sustainable and circular resource, so that I have to agree with the precedent speaker, the water sector has not been systematically included in the high-level discussion. This is likely due to the fact that the original development of the basic principle of circular economy began in the field of solid waste. I don't know if you waste industries. perhaps it's something happened before. Only recently have we witnessed an increasing interest in utilizing the principle of circular economy in the water sector, which undoubtedly has a huge potential in combating the environmental and climate emergencies. Judging by recent European initiative as well as the Italian recovery plan, all the environment industrial sector is increasingly demanding a higher quality standard. So it's currently involved in tackling climate challenges and the urgent need of resources. The introduction of a concept of circularity, which also mimics the natural water cycle, I'm thinking of loops, for example, closing loops, offer a new framework that implicates environmental concerns together with a wide range of economic and social objectives. Considering cutting-edge technical and environmental solutions is crucial for promoting a transformative change in the water sector and consequently towards the restoration of ecosystem. Firstly, we must consider that the conventional processes in wastewater treatment plants produce a large amount of excess sludge, and that sewage sludge treatment and disposal constitute a high percentage of the total cost, almost 60%. So yes, to answer your question, these processes are critical issues in the transition to circular economy model. To minimize the loss of lost resources and to reduce pollutant contents, further strategies may be needed to tackle challenges with innovative approach. So we have to consider water in as a mine, as a mine. I explained it as a bad. Because of a complexity of skills required, it's not enough provided an efficient purification or sanification. Wastewater sludge, traditionally destined to agricultural sector only, if adequately treated, could supply alternative resources. So I just to introduce the possibility that you can use water in wastewater sludge in a different way, depending on the context. In this context, we can consider a new generation of wastewater treatment facilities designed to handle multiple issues together. They are recognized to have a huge role in actively defending ecosystem, not only by sanitation and restoring water in a sustainable way. They have to become a sort of refinery, a mine and a digital platform at the same time. A refinery to take care not only of purification and sanitation, but also of all the products disposal. A mine to provide the materials and energy obtained from its processes, a digital platform constantly powered by inputs provided in real time using advanced technologies. On one hand, developing new wastewater treatment methods is essential to reduce sludge quantity and remove and stabilize pollution. On the other hand, they can contribute to minimizing both energy consumption and greenhouse gas emission. In addition, appropriate technological options are useful in restoring energy and materials like nutrients, cellulose, feeders for construction. So, moreover, I would like to this sort because I don't want to explain everything, but just to stress, we have a new approach and we have to not only reduce gas consumption, gas emission, greenhouse gas emission, but also contribute actively to provide new resources. So the wastewater sludge final end use and disposal is the focus of this speeching. Because of that, the focus on environmental social concerns invite us to acknowledge the possibilities of redirecting waste materials not only to agricultural sector, but also to industrial application. There are many factors I don't want to remember just now, but regulatory frame, the problem of the risk. So to find shared methodologies for evaluation, the cost the complex cost, also social, of these new processes. So this is, I just would say, important to specific the role and responsibility of each one, everybody, all the actors involved in this question, obviously with the collaboration of institution and in a context and a framework of strategies and planning. Oh, I forgot our report. I don't know if I can say something about that. I have. Also because it's a work from it's a work from Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile, I would like to say in Italian, and together with Emilia-Romagna region, and especially ARPAE, that is the agency, the Environment Prevention Agency, and ENEA, that is another agency, national agency. It's a very important center of research. So just to have some to summarize. Oops, wrong. So that we have an agreement. According to the agreement signed in November 2021, Emilia-Romagna region and Sustainable Development Foundation, strongly supported by ENEA and ARPAE, worked to set strategies and develop tools. The initiative includes three kinds of action: to develop original research, to disseminate technical knowledge, and to create business opportunities. The aim of the agreement is to select appropriate sludge treatment options to scale and accelerate the shift to a circular economy model, with the close collaboration among decision makers, experts, researchers, and corporate partners to assist administration and public entities in adopting the best performing methods. Moreover, the interaction proposed could allow us to tackle the issue from a different perspective by combining the urgent need for high environmental performance with effectiveness in economic feasibility. The decision to apply it to Emilia-Romagna region come easily. The region is enterprising in planning, identifying successful strategies, and involving the multitude of actors that currently participate in the decision-making process. It is also a strategic and competitive area, and it actively supports green transition by promoting the reduction of greenhouse emission and energy consumption. By it constitutes also a business and technological hub in Italy, and it's used to involve association and individual citizen because understand the importance of effective communication in facilitating multi-stakeholder processes. The first outcome of this collaboration consists in a report that aims to summarize studies, evaluation, and consideration about this theme. These are three sections. The first part was the context analysis, supported by the vast amount of data and information provided by the regional administration and related institutions. These data do not inform only the general contextual characteristics, but they also provide, in the second part, this is the most important part, they review, the experts have reviewed the current methods for managing municipal sludge, and with this exhaustive reconstruction, as possible to thank you to with the contribution of ENEA Research Center. Okay, so there are a lot of findings about the possibility to reuse phosphorus, and we know ENEA is in charge of creating and managing the platform for for the phosphorus by the Minister of Environment, Italian Minister of Environment. That's the name actually. And each of the technologies has been examined in the relation of effectiveness and reducing volume and weight in relation to products that can be restored, and also the possibility to use materials and energy. So at the end, the synthesis of the two parts is a synthesis that outline 4 scenarios. Each scenario program utilizes a mix. One can utilize one or more processes. I don't know. However, for the local attitude, obviously that it's new rural in Emilia-Romagna, this has been the first attention. But actually, there are possibility to sell materials and resources and products to industrial application. At this point, can be a tool. Next step will be a pilot project to sorry if I say, but it was so important to collaborate with all these institutions.
Thank you so much. In fact, this is a project that has been a lot of attention. I read the paper myself and I found it very, very interesting. Thank you so much for being with us. Michele Falcone, Direttore Sviluppo Strategico di Gruppo CAP. You have been always very active into creating wastewater as biorefineries, this concept that really sees all the potential of extracting minerals, energy. So what have you been building as a company? CAP Holding is an Italian water utility that is active in the surroundings of the city of Milano, in the province of Milano. Please.
Yes, thank you so much. We are, first of all, we are a public company with over almost 200 shareholders. So we are really involved in any kind of policy that is a linking policy and with other actors. We are very able to create new policy that are really engaged with other stakeholders and shareholders. We, as you can see in the slide, we operate in a very concentrated area, urbanized in the north of Milan, including the city, and dedicated to the intensive agriculture industry in the south. I don't know if you know, but Milano is the district with a huge agriculture park in Europe. So we have to manage water in this very complicated area. And several years ago, we decided to launch a very ambitious sustainable plan where we decide to face the water in a different way. When I started to work in this sector, the water was considered in a linear way from pipe to waste plant. And we decided after the Paris conference to manage the water in a circular way. And in the cross-sectoral, the water is a cross-sectoral sector. And when you decide to manage the sector in this way, you start to create a connection. First of all, we create connection with the other companies, water companies, as you did in Netherlands. And we created, for example, the Water Alliance in Italy to boost different policies, for example, in innovation, or to manage to achieve a different saving cost in energy purchasing or gas purchasing. But the very different way, and when we decided to link water with agriculture, waste, storm water, and research. Because when we decide to do this, we create a different manage and a different business plan. For example, when we decide to manage the storm water, over 34% of our business plan is now investment in green infrastructure. And so the tariff, and we paid 1 hour and 30 cents for 1 meter cube of for wall service. The citizen decided, the municipalities decided to increase the tariff to pay this kind of investment. And so this is the way when we change our policy to adapt to try to adapt to face the climate change. We booster the sponge cities and winning the European Generation Plan with over 37 million euro with the municipality of Milan to transform over 100 areas, grace areas in green areas, with obviously a positive impact also in the...
Which is not a traditional action that a water management company does.
Yes,
to plant trees.
I know, but we start the path, and the other companies decide to follow this path. And different companies, for example, in Varese, Monza, and Lombardy region start to do this. And this is the only way when you can manage the water in a territory where municipalities have no money. The only money is the tariff. The other actors have no money. If you don't manage a drought or water storm, they don't do this. So the promise is where we start to manage this kind of, and when you see, and also the other important pillars that we decided to have and to transform our wastewater plants in a really biorefinery. And for this kind of transformation, the research center was for us, has been for us the very key point. When we decide to transform the laboratory, the normal laboratory, in a really research center, where we decided to collaborate with a startup or innovation company as the Dutch company or the other international companies, we are able to achieve in a very quick time many goals that maybe we are not able to achieve in a different way. And when we decide to connect the waste and the water, we start to have different acquisition. For example, we decide to achieve and to different goal, purchasing two companies, as you can see in the picture. The first one is a waste company that manage waste. It's a thermovalorization, and we are now to invest to connect waste and sludge. And the other company is a company totally dedicated to the sludge transformation, but where we are able also to transform the wet waste urban in biogas and in energy that we will give to our company as benefit for the territory that have this kind of plan. Our really challenge now is to use our assets in a sharing way. We have no space. We have a very heavy red tape in Italy. So if you decide to transform a greenfield in a new plant, is impossible in Italy. So you have to decide to invest only when you have the gray area. So, and the other really challenge that we have is the NIMBY symptom. When you manage in a very urbanized area, all want the plants is made in another place. So you have to invest a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of patience, try to convince, to engage the population in this kind of project. And for us, this is the new way to manage the water. And I really agree that there is the only way that we can face and adapt to the climate change.
Thank you so much. Managing consensus is indeed a key element to create a new platform. Koos Wessel, you're the CEO of Sirtec. You also do a lot of international partnership also with Italy. So how critical is to create international partnership to develop innovative technologies? And as well, if you can present your company briefly. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the invitation and introducing me. Yeah, I think that if we want to really make a difference, it should be on a larger scale than on a national scale. So collaboration internationally is, I would say, critical to create a certain volume where it also make use to reuse the valuables that we extract from, in our case, from sewage. Yeah, I tried to avoid the word wastewater because I think we should get away from that. Actually, in our office, you have to pay at least €1 for each time that you use the word. So I proceed in sewage from that. And in this case, we are talking here about circularity, and maybe it's also good to put it a little bit in perspective, because although we have a target to come to a circular economy, still the amount of resources that we use increases every year, also in Europe. I don't know if who's familiar with Overshoot Day, but for Italy it was this year, I think May 15. In Netherlands it was even in April already. So Overshoot Day is the day that we have consumed, I would say, the resources that the earth provides for us. So there is really a need to recover valuables, in our case from sewage. And what we do is we recover toilet paper. So maybe I should have started with thank you all for being a partner in our value chain for 43 hours a year, because and the amount of resources, just to put toilet paper in perspective, in Italy alone, you purchase about 3 million rolls of toilet paper a day, and you flush them, and we're talking about 150,000 kilometers a day that you flush. So we can go around the earth about 4 times a day. And all this toilet paper, it ends up in a sewage treatment plant, where it consumes, where it requires a lot of energy to remove it. And basically that happens partially, and the rest is discharged with the sludge, either going through a digester and then incinerated. So that costs energy, and what we do is we recover this part and make again a valuable resource from it. So a part of what we do is we recover fibers and we sell it off to, for example, for an additive in asphalt, but also for biocomposites. And we transfer it into sugars as a base material for biochemistry. And the aim finally is to reduce the energy consumption at the sewage treatment plant, what it should do approximately for 15%. But in this time, if you look from a perspective of climate change, what may be more interesting even is that 1 ton of recovered toilet paper that is reused high end will save you about 2.5 tons of CO2. So 1 big sewage treatment plant would allow the city of Milan to fly to Sydney 20 times a year by means of CO2 emission. So just to put it a little bit in perspective, so maybe this evening, if you go to the toilet, you think a bit different of what you're doing. We use about 1 hectare of service of wood in a lifetime, and we flush it away and we don't look at it anymore. And our aim is basically to bring that back into a valuable resource. This is and what is basically the biggest barrier right now for us is maybe good also to highlight that a little bit. We try to be innovative, and we need innovative technology, but in the way of tendering it, we compare it with a mature market with products that are highly already developed for a long period. And that's really difficult to compare it. So I think that if we want to be successful in bringing down the CO2 emission and recover the valuables that are in sewage, right now we recover less than 1% that is available in it, then we really have to look different at innovation, and maybe we should take into account also the cost that we will end up when we're doing nothing. So if we wait, we come to a point of no return, and the cost will be much higher than investing right now. So
thank you so much.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Marzia Chiesa, CEO of Sodai, you both work into desalination, water treatment, a different set of technologies. So let you present your company, also tell us what are the innovations you have been put in place with this technology. Also, if you have a partnership between Italy and the Netherlands.
Yes, I have. So thank you, first of all, to invite me at this important event. And yes, Sodai is a company that has been operating for almost 40 years in the field of purification and treatment of primary waters and processed fluids. And it has a path marked by continuous and constant research, mainly aimed at a circular economy and water resource protection. And also supported by collaborations with important universities. It has 3 divisions, as we said, R&D, but also APC and O&M for an integrated approach that starts from study and pilot tests to design and build tailor-made plans, and offer a highly specialized management that this kind of technology is required. In the last few years, and this is important for me, Sodai's path has seen the integration of sustainability as a business motive and tool. And it has led us to achieve important goals. And recently, this is an important part for this meeting, Sodai became a part of a major Dutch industrial group, Nijhuis for Industries, NSI, part of Sur Group, with over 100 years of experience in industrial water treatment plants, in solutions with innovative and sustainable services, and the presence in 140 countries. The mission that I love with the group is called the Mission Water, and is complying to reduce, remove, reuse and recover. And our purpose with this beautiful mission is to be an advocate for water and ensuring that everyone gives water the value it deserves. Beyond our day-to-day business, it means that we are committed to taking action and spreading awareness to invest together in saving water, eliminating pollution, recovering and reusing water and resources. So this is what we are. And so can I continue to talk about what we do?
Absolutely.
So this important partnership with the Dutch Nijhuis for Industries offers Sodai a great opportunity to offer existing and new clients the most comprehensive portfolio of the best available technologies. And in addition, Sour's tradition and experience in water management is in line with Sodai's main O&M activities for Italian key clients, such as Trenitalia, where Sodai owns and manages the wastewater treatment plants in the workshops, and such as the Eni and Versailles refineries, where Sodai built and manages the largest Italian zero liquid discharge treatment plant for wastewater from second generation bioethanol production. And with Trenitalia, we are developing the project called Sustainable Water Cycle that sees reflected the transition path undertaken by Sodai in this relationship with the client, evolving into a valuable partnership. And the project aims to adapt and maintain the sites to the principles of sustainability in terms of digitalization, of the water network, first of all, with the implementation of smart 3D technologies with IoT application, which are essential to correct and avoid new water leakage from the water network, which today lose about 50% of drinking water We know that. And of course, the digitalization, even of the sewage network, essential to prevent environmental pollution. Also, in terms of transparency and security, by tracing the supply chain of waste deriving, of course, from our wastewater treatment plant with the blockchain technology. We are already doing this in some sites and involving the entire supply chain. The second point, of course, of this project is the water reuse. So to recover and reuse the purified water from our plants. The project also concerns increased worker safety and use of renewable energies. I would like to talk about an important technology for us, because it's an important is our technology called DEEPEST. We are in the field of organic matrices valorization with particular reference to the digestate sector. And the DEEPEST technologies enables the separation of purified water, which can be reused, recovered, of course, for irrigation or industrial uses, from organic matrix, which can be reused as fertilizer, for example. So we are talking about processes that recover from processed fluid purified water down to zero liquid discharge, and where possible, raw materials. The idea is to integrate the best available technologies by providing adapting solutions that ensure sustainable and resilient water use. And not only that, we are proudly working together with all SOR Group and NSI companies, but also with the Pure Water Group and other major Dutch players who are represented by the Water Alliance. And another point, I try to be quickly to conclude it.
Less than 1 minute.
Okay, so the desalinization. I like the expression, the sea is a mine, not only of water, that now we are calling the blue gold, and of a million of other resources, but also of salts, that in this case can be from the concentrate we can be used the concentrate to the production of sea salt. So this is another opportunity of circular economy, and the salts in this case give another opportunity in terms of development of the new local industries. So just to conclude, sorry, Emanuele, how to close the loop? The answer lies in identify the right technologies and market chains for using of recovered water and raw materials. Try not to throw anything away, but also to find the right destination. And obviously, all sectors must act jointly. So a policy of adaptation to climate change in the use and management of water resources can no longer be postponed. Okay, try to close this speech, talking about that in this scenario, companies have a key role. This is important to say, to play, and must become increasingly capable of combining business with attention to the innovation, the environment, and the social issues. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A very large set of technologies indeed. Ruud de Vetter, international sales engineer of Pure Water Group, one of the most famous water purification company. A key element as well is becoming more and more relevant, especially for domestic consumption, but also for industrial use. So how this technology has evolved, and also how you work together. I mean, what's the joint venture there?
I try to explain. First of all, thank you for having me here and to explain you a little bit about the latest technologies in water purification. Before, I like to give you a brief introduction about our company. Pure Water Group is based in the Netherlands, and we are globally renowned as a leading manufacturer of advanced and sustainable water purification equipment for the production of ultra-pure and high-purity water. And you see some examples behind. We partner with innovative technology partners to develop and expand our product range. our core technologies includes electrodeionization, membrane degassing, and electrodialysis reversal. Since 2004, we are designated master service provider for IonPure EDI products or CDEDI products, and we work closely with Evoqua. Next year, we will celebrate our 25th year anniversary. Our unparalleled experience can be benefit to scale up hydrogen projects, which combines various treatment steps like RO, reverse osmosis, membrane degassing, CEDI, and ion exchange polishing, but also reveals the need to harmonize the feed water quality for both alkaline and membrane-based electrolyzers to resistivities or electrical conductivities up to 18.2 megaohm per centimeter or 0.055 microsiemens per centimeter, and anions and cations, metals, TOC levels, and silica down to sub or even low ppb ranges. However, although a lot of experience with ultra-pure water purification based on potable water, some high-capacity hydrogen generation projects require more potable water than available. To give you an example, in the north of the Netherlands, in Groningen, there will be built a 1 gigawatt electrolyzer plant, and you need 32,000 cubic meters of water a day, which is more water than the province of Groningen will produce in one day. So that means that brackish water or seawater, or probably both, are required to fulfill the challenging feed water demands, especially for the green hydrogen production. Therefore, it's of vital importance to collaborate with local partners to tackle scarcity issues by considering water and energy recovering solutions, for reducing the water footprint by electrodialysis reversal or alternative feed water sources, like, for example, sewage water. And Hein also, during his pitch, he mentioned it. And a good example is the NAM project, which we did around 10 years ago. It was not allowed by the water board to use groundwater. It was not allowed to use surface water. So they had to look for an alternative water source. And finally, they found the water treatment plant of the city of Emmen with 250 people living there, and they used that sewage water to finally produce ultra pure water to produce steam. Another example, the cooperation with Nijhuis we have in Eerbeek in the Netherlands, there is a large paper mill, and the paper mill should be closed in 2027 when they are still using the groundwater. They have to reduce the groundwater. So we are using with our innovative partners to see if it is possible to get a closed economy on the water part. That's for my part. As in the business, we always on the high end. So also in this setting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a very interesting presentation. We also ran a bit out of time. It's my fault. It's always the moderator's fault because it's not able to keep the proper time. So I want to thank you all for this very interesting discussion. We have a very large set of ideas and hope everyone will bring some back. And of course, you are all available for a quick chat after this event if you want to just interact with the public. And thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. And we hope to continue this discussion on water also next year here at Stati Generali. Thank you so much.